Just realized I had the microphone muted this whole time. Risk Management Committee. I think I might have mentioned that I've been I've been listening in on training sessions for the Risk Management Committee, which, is actually pretty complicated, quite technical. And it's been interesting. I don't know if it was as a result of that or not, but I got a call from the chair of the committee, and he wanted to know if I was interested in joining, which I am, but I can't add that level of obligations to my list. So at some point, I probably will do that, but we would have to figure out who could take over this committee first. So that may be in the future at some point, but it's probably a ways off. SolSmart report. We are the first community to be certified under SolSmart. Everything's been submitted. I don't know how this happened. I don't know why.
More proactive, I believe. We're just a little faster. Yeah, let's not question it. It's just, we got it done.
So that has all been submitted, and then that's for bronze. And I told them, I said, we actually have the points. Certainly for silver, probably for gold. There are some requirements that we don't have. There's a couple of things. They're very easy, and I told them I probably will put some stuff together and submit the information required for that. One of the things that we'll definitely have to do for that is some work on the website. So, that I'll talk to Rob about it, see if he's done anything at all. I can talk to Tiffany, and I can actually take it on myself. This is nothing that you need to be worried.
Oh, okay, I was just about to say, if you need, I can't help you with the website, but if you need any filling out of forms or anything, let me know.
No, but your husband, and this is all simple form stuff that's very easy to take care of. I could call Leah and she could do it, show me how to do it in a few minutes, I'm sure. And I may do that.
Okay.
So that's where that stands. But I think, it turns out that the real key to the SolSmart program was that we actually have a zoning ordinance in place, and it's a reasonable one. There's a few tweaks that could be made, but basically that got us a lot of points right off the bat. That's where our points came from.
Do you see us having any warrant articles for next spring to change anything?
We might. I need to
like
go over
the glare thing, maybe, or is that not?
That's pretty much a non-entity at this point. But I would like to have that statement removed. And it seemed like like Jamie and John were willing to do that.
Yeah.
There's some other things. There's a definition that I think is missing, but there really isn't much. I mean, they wanted. I mean, at their own initiative, they think a couple of things need to be cleaned up. They don't want the zoning for solar to be any more restrictive than any of the other zoning components. Yep. So you can basically, there is an exception for setbacks. You can have a structure, a temporary structure of some sort, going right up to the line.
Sheds and fences.
Yeah, and so they said it seems reasonable that would be the case for arrays too. And I need to talk to them about that in more detail, but there's some other things with the height of the arrays. They weren't happy with some of that. And it actually seems like 20 feet is fairly reasonable for anything that's non-commercial and not a movable array. There's those monster arrays, but those would require a special exception anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they really want to do there. How high is yours?
14 feet.
Yeah, 14 feet unless you put it 45 degrees,
feet.
and then it's a little higher, yeah.
14 feet, Paul.
How much she took it?
I thought it was 20.
No, 15.
No,
15, 14, 15, yeah.
Yeah.
For residential,
14
which is
feet sticks
too
in
low.
my mind, which I mean,
Maybe they had 20 for commercial, which
Yeah.
is not going to suffice, certainly.
For the scales ones. no?
Right,
Yeah.
things like that. And I don't, that may mean that they have to present to the planning board, which is fine
Yeah.
from my perspective. I don't think presenting to the planning board is a huge tribulation, but we don't want it for standard residential setups. And that's really what this was about. So I will look into that. What I have to do is create a solar landing page is what they call it. And they actually have a whole template for what's supposed to be on there. And we have most of it. We have to do some status things, which I'll have to work with the building department on. But that's it. So we're there on SolSmart. I did not go to the office hours today. I think it's the first one I missed. Had enough. How's things going at the library?
Good, roof is done. The interconnection is done. The screw piles went in today, so the racking on the ground will go up tomorrow. The next day, we'll probably, then for the end of next week, it'll all be done.
Wow, great.
It's moving along.
How are things going for the opening? Do you know?
all is well.
Great.
They won't have enough furniture because the fabric's back ordered, and so there's gonna be the used furniture and no new furniture, I understand, I think, but, whatever.
It looks great.
Yeah. Susan made a presentation to the select board on, I think it was just a status update. I didn't listen to the whole.
On time and on budget, right? So that's what I keep hearing.
Yep.
Other than the
Budget,
furniture.
actually. Other than the furniture.
Which,
They're all set with the shelves and stuff though, so they can get the books up.
Well,
yes.
should be there Monday, I want to
The
say.
shelving company and the furniture company were two different things, right?
Tucker and,
Tucker
Something the other
Interiors and somebody's library,
yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
yeah, for the furniture.
Good, good. Anything new on the rec center?
No, the library has, all the exterior, lights have been changed to, LED.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
They were.
They were finishing up, hooking them up today.
The parking lot lights.
Yes, parking lot lights.
Oh, Susan said something about they were doing some tree work.
Oh,
They
yeah.
did a lot of tree work.
So what was going on with that?
Took down
Nine or
7 or 8, 9
10.
pounds
9
These
to
were the
10
pine
pine
trees.
trees
along the street.
along between the building and 125. And then,
And then we took out a
Jacks.
bunch more in the back.
yeah,
So they allowed that.
And Charlie didn't care. He just wanted to know
Oh,
what.
this was from Charlie's property?
Yeah,
abutting
Some of them.
in, some of them were his.
half dozen pines came off his property.
On Jack's
okay.
project, yeah.
Just big ugly.
Yeah.
Plus, we took down some others on
They
the
were,
west side too, so.
Was there any removal of trees that were shading that were potentially shading the solar system?
Well, actually, if I had known they were gonna take all those trees on the east side, we could have put panels on the east side of the roof. Because now it's actually got pretty good coverage, but
Yeah, well,
we have room for expansion.
to be fair, I think some of that tree decision was sort of last minute because of budget, like, did they have enough money and blah, blah, blah.
yeah,
I'm
and
not
it was
suggesting-
determined later on
No,
that
I
those
know.
were potential
Were they worried about
getting the building.
issues with
Yeah.
them coming down?
Uh-huh, yeah. I believe I said something about that in February, just saying, but anyway, okay.
Because of things, and there were 8 or 10 in the back that were bad like that too.
Okay.
So they're gone.
Good. I have nothing on legislative updates. It's been very quiet. Have you heard anything, Doug?
No, no. I mean, there's conference committees going on to sort things out.
Yeah. Did you hear anything about the size of the rallies? in
5
New
million?
Hampshire?
Oh, in New
Well,
Hampshire and the country.
No, it was 2,000 to 3,000 in Concord.
That's what it seemed.
There was
like.
probably 1,000 in Dover.
Really?
It was
Yeah.
quite a, they're
Wow.
on, like all
Weeks.
four corners.
How'd they fit in?
Yeah, they all up and down, there's like a half-mile stretch.
Yeah, they were stretched out in Concord way further than they were at the last one.
Yeah, that too, so it was a lot. And there were, 25 more sites,
Right.
states. So it was-
Right.
Portsmouth.
Big deal.
Oh, yeah, did anyone hear how Portsmouth went on, it was.
Market Square Day.
Yeah, just.
Yeah, but they kind of ended up on either end of it down at.
Did you hear anything about how it worked out?
No, just looked out. I mean, they didn't have conflicts.
I guess the bridge was full.
Really?
It was in the park and spilled up onto the bridge over in the
Yeah,
Kidder
Prescott Park.
Oh,
Oh,
It was busy.
Yeah. Glad I wasn't there. Okay, so basically we don't know anything about what's going on with crossover at this point. So we're through some of those issues. There were a couple of items in the news. Doug, why don't we go to this one first? This was the one you sent about the school in Nashua.
yeah, that was
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
It is, and you know, one thing, so there is, I don't know what the woman's position is in Nashua, but she has some position as far as power purchases and power planning in Nashua goes. And it's very clear that they have a lot of infrastructure there, and they have people who are responsible for it. And I'm sure they have people who are dedicated to getting, low-income grants such as were available for this. We're really not in a position where we can do that.
Yeah.
Which is aggravating. I mean, it's not that, I'm sure that we have a population of children that are living in the trailer parks that are equally disadvantaged and could use these benefits, but I don't know what to do.
I know at least one of them, they were trying people within because it's a co-op, but people within the park objected to putting in solar.
In Barrington?
Yeah, the one up on South Hall Road. Partridge Lane.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of amazed, but these certain elements don't get it about solar or.
Well, I mean, they haven't planned that community. There's not really a spot that I could point at where you could put something that would
I thought
actually.
there was, it wasn't gonna run the whole.
That's right, it would have been small.
Yeah, but it would have been something, and of course, they got it together, they would
Like
have got
individual.
funding.
There was a whole lot of money that just came in for low-income housing agencies. Which, of course, we don't have any.
Right.
You have, this one in Rochester, but
Yeah,
nothing.
no, this was interesting and I read it and I was like, yeah, would be really nice, but I don't know how to
Yeah.
do this stuff.
Well, it's just something to aspire to, or to
Yeah.
show it to the school board and say, hey,
Well, and I think
happening.
Stratford Regional Planning is, they're the ones that we would go to for something like this. If we could come up with something that seemed reasonable. So we need to keep thinking about that, but it was an interesting piece. And that is an impressive installation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big.
There was another one since then that Unitil just built like the largest utility-owned
So have they?
array somewhere.
Yeah, I know there was a big one going in somewhere in New Hampshire. I don't
Yeah.
know. Is it utility scale?
I believe they were just saying it was the largest that utility built,
Oh, okay.
so I assume I don't know, what's the largest, 5 megawatts,
Probably.
3 megawatts,
I don't know. I've been keeping track.
but it's gotta be
Too busy.
more than 1 or 2.
Well, that's for if they're doing it under a community power type setup. They can build a larger utility scale installation, can't they? They're not limited to the 5 megawatts.
If it's behind the meter.
They can't feed onto the grid with something larger than 5 meg?
The way the law is written now, only municipalities can do that.
I thought that there was,
but there are municipalities that own utilities.
Right.
Yeah.
Wolfboro is one of them.
what about if they feed into the region?
I get one of the problems here is there's not many substations around here that'll take more than 5
Well,
megawatts. So,
that's an issue.
but, they haven't passed a law that would open this up, municipalities. I mean, there are lots of
Gotta
There are lots of
educate myself more on this.
projects in the queue
But those are the 5 megawatt.
No, I think there's stuff in the queue that's bigger than that, but it's not gonna, with the anticipation of.
Oh, tying into the regional.
Yeah, something happened, but, who knows? It's just.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well,
So we, by the way, are doing, starting at Deerfield School next week. They're doing a 300. So good.
300 kilowatt.
Rooftop.
How much of their capacity will that supply?
It's about 3/4.
Right?
Mm. That's a pretty good study.
I don't know how many of you saw this. It seems a little bit late. I mean, this is basically what happened in the, December to February timeframe, and it's only, this was June 9th. Mara Hoplamazian is pretty good, and I was very surprised to see this now. But it's, she raised the right points. It's a good read if you haven't read it already. It's on the NHPR site, and you can get to it through the agenda. Little bit more to say about that. The other thing, and this is what, I don't know if any of you listened to me about the office hours. That was the Friday after our last meeting. It was going over rate setting reserves and other items. It was, Henry did most of it, and Dean and Dennis did the rest. Both very good. It's a very good presentation. They go into a lot about the rate setting process. Question and answer session was good. Dina also explained some of the issues in what was being proposed by the utilities as far as cost recovery. And as always, when you get into the details, it was more reasonable than it seemed, just hearing what they were proposing with, basically socializing the costs that they had underestimated. And she did a good job, I believe. So there's Eversource, Unitil, and is it Liberty? Okay, so Liberty has not tried to do this cost sharing. They have said we will recover whatever we're going to recover. We will recover through the default customers. But what's going on? So where this and so what they've done. So Salem must be a fairly big town. I don't really know.
That's like 20,000.
Okay, so Salem is about to start a community power aggregation. It's not clear exactly. I don't know the specifics of when it's going to start up or anything like that. But Liberty radically underestimated their costs. They were 8 million or more under what they needed. So what they have done is to recover the costs, they've proposed 2 potential rates, and it's dependent on whether or not Salem joins a community power aggregation. Because if it joins an aggregation, they won't pay. They are no longer the utility default customers, and they would no longer be responsible for paying back. And apparently, they're a big percentage. So the difference between the rates that are being proposed, depending on whether Salem is in or out of a community power aggregation, are really significant. They go over that in here. It's very interesting. I hadn't thought about that. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I still think that what was being proposed was pretty outrageous. But it's interesting when you learn the details. These things they're complicated, and basically what it amounts to, there's really no good way to to figure out exactly how you're going to compensate for this after the fact.
Okay, so wait, I'm confused. So Liberty undercharges by millions of dollars.
Yeah, it was worse for their commercial and large customers. than it
So-
was for residential.
They're saying that if community power appears on their thing, that they're just not gonna recover this money?
No, what they're saying is that they have to propose two different rates for this coming rate period.
Oh, so if some of their community goes to community power, the rates will be even higher than Jesus Christ. Just make the investors pay.
Right, well, that's a good point. Yeah.
They're not supposed to be making money, right?
No, and I actually asked Henry, my question to the group was, given that the utilities by regulation are not allowed to make a profit on, selling power, why do they seem to hate CPC&H so much? And Henry did a really good job on answering. And basically, the crux of what he said was, there are other services that the coalition is proposing for the future that would be in direct competition with what they have traditionally done. They've always been the ones that have offered, if someone was going to put in new meters, it would have been them. So you could offer time day rates or various services like that. And they are directly threatened by something that's on the scale of what the coalition is turning into. So, yeah, it was.
Free markets are great, so.
It was an interesting answer because I hadn't thought of that stuff, and it did make a lot of sense. Anyway, there was a lot of information in there that was worth thinking about, and if you go to the link in the agenda, it will bring you to this page, and they actually have recordings of all of the past office hours that have been done, and a number of them are really good. The one that Mark did on Poverty Plains was excellent. I don't remember any of the others. I've seen most of them, but good link to go to if you're looking for this kind of information. And I believe that's it. So the only other thing, go away. The only other thing, this is a busy week. Rate setting is taking place. Tomorrow, there is a joint meeting of risk management and finance committees. This is where they have traditionally gotten together and given their proposal, which was, I don't know how they used to align it with the CEO's proposal, but I don't think there is a CEO proposal anymore since there's no CEO. And this is not something that Henry took over. He's very specifically not supposed to do that. This is supposed to be left to the committees that are responsible. And in this case, it's the risk management and finance committees. That is actually being combined with the risk management training, which was supposed to be on yesterday, and they postponed it to make it part of this meeting. So we will have a good idea of what is likely to be the rate being proposed by noon tomorrow.
But that will be not
For announcement.
not for announcement. Thank you for clarifying that, just in case I know it.
So on the 26th, which is Monday, I think.
No.
23rd is Monday.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. The board meetings are always on Thursday. So on Thursday, there will be the board meeting at which they'll vote on accepting the rate. That's when it actually becomes official. And it will be posted on July 1st. That's when you can officially tell people. It's not going to be a surprise. I'm canceling the meeting for the 3rd of July. I don't think anyone wants to be here before the 4th. And we'll meet again on the 17th. Anyone have anything that they wanted to bring up?
On the topic of solar, I've been doing some research for work, I'm going to do some enforcement of conservation easement deeds. And but my firm does a lot of those.
Are
Just
there
what that work.
violations that you're running into?
Not anything currently. That would be through the Southeast Land Trust when they do their monitoring. If the grantor has run afoul of the language, but my point is, in many of the conservation easement deeds that I've recently come across, there's a carve out that allows solar, so the grantor can
Oh,
use the
Really?
space for solar. Yeah. In many of them, not all of them, but in the drafted lawyers in my firm,
Residential or?
That,
I would think commercial.
because I had actually, I think I approached, when I did my conservation easement, I was interested in doing that, and I think I approached Clean Energy New Hampshire, and I asked them if they had a model clause that I could include or something like that would allow it, and they said they had never heard of anything like that, and I said, well, it would be a good idea if you came up with
Just start
something.
hearing.
You
yeah.
know, I can't come up with that on my own, I don't have the funds for that.
Right. Is that through the Southeast Land Trust?
No, my easement is with the town.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, so I did propose that I would be able to have solar installations to offset any agricultural needs, buildings that had electrical requirements, and for an EV charging station.
Okay.
It's down at the kiosk at the bottom, off the road. And the state of New Hampshire, well, Doug remembers this, they refused to allow
No way.
Jeez.
it. And there were a few things that they refused. They also refused to allow me to run power lines up the driveway to my house.
What?
And I said, well, that's a showstopper, because if I to sell the house, I have to be able to
Yeah,
allow people to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it, but,
Right.
and so Doug cleaned up the mess.
Yeah, we could spend quite off, a good chunk of money. It was funding to expand Goodwill. It's adjacent to
Right.
Goodwill, so we
Oh,
ended
Oh.
up losing like 25 grand because of that.
oh,
Yeah.
so
But the
you're
state
you're
doesn't
property at the
regulate
end of Goodwill.
Well, one of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, one of the.
I'm the one where the new trail that's
Yeah.
coming off of, that's,
Oh, okay, cool.
But you can still do it though, you're just not part of the state.
yeah, no, it's just that we couldn't get that. grant.
No, I think I want to do that.
Yeah,
But
so,
it's because the state won't allow it on their stuff that they have, jurisdiction.
well, it was because, it was weird, because it was a drinking water grant.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
why they had a problem with that, because of drinking water constraints?
I mean, I don't think it was necessarily, it was
Connect,
just kind of general.
right.
I'm sure they have some kind of statewide policy.
So you're dealing with these easements, are you dealing
I'm
with
just-
writing the easement?
Not writing, just enforcement, litigation. It's usually arbitration or mediation first before unless there's an imminent harm.
Has there been any?
TRO. I haven't had anything yet, so I'm anticipating. Southeast Land Trust has a lot of
Yeah.
CEDs.
They own a lot of Barrington.
Yeah.
They
slammed it.
purchased Stonehouse property.
they purchased land through till Stratford, Province Road,
For
used to be
the,
Layton's.
Right.
for
Oh,
the
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
we have
wildlife
that
runs and
presentation.
stuff.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. It's cool. Nonprofit, it's very well
Well,
run.
keep us posted. It's always interesting to hear about those things. And it informs some of the monitoring that we do as well.
Mhm.
Okay, that's it, folks. Have a good evening, a good holiday, and see you in the middle of July.